some aircraft from the Russians.
This military operation was relatively successful, but Lumumba had signed his own death sentence a second time. Now it was the Americans who wanted real pain.
The United States deplores the unilateral action of the Soviet Union in supplying aircraft and other equipment for military purposes to the Congo, thereby aggravating an already serious situation which finds Africans killing other Africans.
I had a little man at the airport, and if a white person got off a Soviet aircraft, he was considered Russian. Now, he could have been Czech, he could have been Bulgarian, because they had some Bulgarians and some Czechs there. But more likely he was right. And the man would go 1, 2, 3, 4 across, 1, 2, 3, 4 across. And at the end of the day, we would count these figures. So it was an approximation, when I say about. But they came in, and we were afraid that they would slowly take over the levers of power.
Were you in contact with the Americans?
Yes, my contact was Larry Devlin. We got on very well and we did some things together. But I think the Americans wanted to liquidate Lumumba.
Oh yes, Colonel Maliere was in the defense section. He was a highly respected officer. He somehow understood Congolese probably better than 98% of his colleagues, and certainly better than I did.
One day it was agreed with our people that we would put listening devices in Lumumba's office. The Americans provided the equipment and the Belgians installed it. We intercepted all of Lumumba's telephone conversations. The big difficulty was that he often spoke in Tetela, and we had to have a translator. That was the biggest difficulty.
Was this useful?
We knew in general what he was saying and what he was doing.
Through a series of press conferences, Lumumba tried in vain to win over world public opinion. He exposed the foreign intervention which was attempting to undermine the new independent Congo, but the press branded him as a threat to world interests and set about the assassination of his character. Reports from the German correspondent Peter Scholler-Tour were typical of the style used in the Western press.
Is it his Mephistopheles beard, or those eyes rolling like billiard balls behind his spectacle lenses? There's something terrifying about this man. He has the head of an African lynx.
Lumumba's daughter, Juliana, was present at many of the press conferences.
I was with my father all the time. Often I was the only person allowed to be with him when he was working on his speeches. So I'd sit down quietly and just be with Dad. In the Belgian press, he was shown as Satan, with horns and everything, the archetypal communist. And all this just because he said things which corresponded to the aspirations of the majority of the people, but which were absolutely not part of the mindset or the objectives of the colonial power at the time. He wanted the black people, the Congolese people, first and foremost, to be worthy of their own culture. To have faith in them. We want to be independent, he said, but on terms of equality and respect. I think that's why people always said he was intransigent.
Are you a communist, Mr. Lumumba?
It always makes me laugh when I'm asked that question. I'm not a communist at all. You know, I've often been presented as a communist, as anti-white, anti-Belgian, as someone destructive. Absolutely not. I'm simply a nationalist leader, fighting for an ideal. I'm not a communist at all, I never will be.
American agent Larry Devlin received $100,000 from the CIA, along with instructions to make the elimination of Lumumba the priority goal of his covert action.
Yes, I received a cable that someone whom I would, a senior officer that I would know by sight, would arrive and give me specific instructions. And that was very surprising, because why were they sending someone there to give me instructions when they could send them by cable? I had no idea what the instructions would be.
In Belgian Secret Service telegrams, there was talk of a mysterious Operation Barracuda and of the imminent arrival of 2 children.
I must say quite sincerely that I have no recollection of the codename Barracuda at all.
And the 2 children, what was that?
The 2 children? No. Yes, I remember now. They sent 2 people, an aide and Major Luz. They sent both of them. Yes, it must have been those 2, to talk to me about the Lumumba affair, and they were in favor of eliminating him.
I remember being totally surprised when he instructed me that they wanted to get rid of him. But I never heard of the agency being involved in such a thing before.
They wanted to send me a crocodile killer to get rid of Lumumba. That's what they came to propose.
The substance to eliminate Lumumba was toothpaste that was poison, which would result in a illness very similar to polio or something like that, as I remember.
I never opposed it. I always let them get on with things. But I let the Congolese do it. I think there were lots of people who preferred him out of the way for good.
It's been denied that President Eisenhower issued such instructions. I have no idea whether he did or did not. At the time, I assumed that he had. But I have a feeling that something must have been said that was either he ordered it or he was misunderstood. But certainly, I believe that at the time it was a presidential order.
The red flag came down when the Congolese army in Leopoldville overthrew the ultra-nationalist Prime Minister Patrice Lumumba and expelled Moscow's diplomatic representative from the country. Soviet documents, fly sheets and propaganda brochures burned. Communist intrigues against the United Nations in the Congo have for the time being been stopped. A 30-year-old colonel, Desiré Mobutu, has become the new strongman of this young republic with the support of the majority of the Congolese army.
Mobutu had in fact been a trusted ally of Lumumba, who had appointed him head of the army only a few weeks earlier. He now declared he had deposed the Prime Minister. The officer who led the putsch was in fact the West's secret weapon against Lumumba. One of his most influential advisors was the Belgian counter-espionage officer, Colonel Maria.
Mobutu was pro-Western, that's for sure. But apart from that, he was also manipulated by the Americans.
He was interested in dealing with the United States and having this American support, and I was the person with whom he worked.
Mobutu's putsch was the prelude to a dictatorship lasting more than 30 years, from which the country has never recovered.
But Mobutu didn't do it on his own. He was helped. They came to take this country's wealth. They came to get contracts with him so they could fill their pockets and to get bigger and bigger royalties. They supported him for more than 30 years. The Americans, the Belgians, the French, and the big international companies. They didn't come to develop the country, they came to make a profit. And they made huge profits.
Mobutu's move against Lumumba was not only supported by Western secret services, but also by the United Nations.
$1 million roughly, which was UN money, which was used to pay the troops.
Using troops paid by foreign powers, Mobutu put Lumumba under house arrest. UN forces also surrounded the residence of the deposed Prime Minister to protect him, but also to eliminate him politically. Lumumba broke the siege and tried to take his family on the 2,000-kilometer drive to Stanleyville, where a pro-Lumumba counter-government had been formed. But his very popularity was to become his undoing.
We understood it was to be like a normal official trip, so we mobilized the population in the usual way.
He made a speech in every village. Even in those villages which didn't support him, he would make speeches. He was caught in a trap of his own making. He wanted to win people over, and he was quite capable of doing so. But this dragged out the journey, and they were able to catch up with him and put him in prison.
Late in the evening of the 1st of December 1960, Lumumba crossed the Sankuru River by boat, and the trip was reached safely. But the ferry boat bringing his family also brought his pursuers.
Amongst the regular portrait gallery of political fame, the face of someone who is politically neutral is the face of a dead man. Lumumba has risen from the status of a powerful living prime minister to that of the assassinated hero of Africa.
The body of an important personality. Here I have what's left of a very important historical figure. He had very good teeth. They're covered in gold at the back.
Lumumba murdered 40 years ago. One man who must know is the Belgian colonial official and diplomat, Jacques Bresson.
He was dangerous for us, in the sense that he wasn't open to the kind of solutions we sometimes wanted to apply.
Another man who played a central role in the fall of the Congolese politician was Louis Malière, a colonel in the Belgian Secret Service.
Lumumba chose the wrong side. Of course, he was more or less a communist, and he chose the Russian side rather than the West.
Virginia, USA. This is where CIA agent Larry Devlin lives. He was the man the American government entrusted with the murder of Lumumba.
Lumumba was a danger for both the Congo and the rest of the world, in the sense that he was allowing the Soviets to come in, and we were certainly believed that there was a very good chance that they would take over control of the Congo.
40 years after independence, the country with its huge Congo River is still being torn apart by civil war. Mobutu's long dictatorship plundered its riches, and the mineral wealth so viciously fought over has dried up. Congo's Minister of Culture is the daughter of the country's first Prime Minister.
Lumumba has become the symbol of nationalism in this country, and has become a symbol of the struggle for independence. And since he has died a tragic death for his ideas, sacrificing himself to pursue those ideas to the very end, I think that is what he left us. And also, for years and years, we couldn't really talk about Lumumba. It was practically forbidden here. People need to know about him and what happened. It's their history, which isn't very old, only 40 years. There's this great desire to know the fathers of our independence, but they're not well enough known.
Lumumba's house in Kinshasa, or Leopoldville as it was known then. In 1960, when the Congo became independent, it was for a few months at the center stage of world politics. Patrice Lumumba, the country's first prime minister.
The masses who are waiting for us tomorrow want more than just the votes they have obtained today. They want bread and progress. We need to be able to build this nation.
There were headlines throughout the entire summer. 200 days later, the show was over. Roland, Lumumba's youngest son, was not even 3 years old when he saw his father for the last time.
We must know exactly who did it, how, and why. We have the right to know. It's our duty to pass this knowledge on to the future generations, to our children and the children of our children.
Lumumba's typewriter, a souvenir from the only friend he had in Belgium, Jean Van Lier, a rebellious Christian and anti-colonialist. He tried in vain to act as an intermediary between Lumumba and the Belgian government.
Patrice was such a free man, and people found it so original to see a black man who didn't lick the feet of the colonialists that they instinctively perceived him as a threat. And it was that freedom of his which turned him into a kind of meteorite, flashing through the sky, and then he disappeared.
The first Europeans to arrive in the Congo called it the Heart of Darkness. In 1955, when King Baudouin visited the country, the colonial order still seemed secure. But millions of Congolese had paid with their lives during the 80 years of Belgian rule. A chance appearance of Patrice Lumumba in the background of an old newsreel. Within 5 years, this unknown post office worker had become the leader of an unstoppable independence movement.
The objective we are pursuing is the liberation of the Congo from the colonial regime and the total emancipation of the country. We are certain that we know exactly where we are going. The independence of the Congo doesn't mean driving the Belgians out or breaking with Belgium. Quite the opposite. We want to form a sovereign government, which will provide a place for everyone in a country where Congolese and Belgians will be able to work hand in hand in the service of the Congolese nation.
Lumumba, as a Pan-African with his MNC party, won a surprise victory in the first free elections. The Belgians reluctantly handed over the government to him. His closest rival, Kasavubu, became president of the young independent states.
We are honored to present to the Parliament of the Congo the first Congolese government as follows. Prime Minister and Minister of Defense, your humble servant, Lumumba.
The first clash came at the independence celebrations.
Gentlemen, the independence of the Congo is the crowning moment of the mission conceived by the genius of King Leopold II, undertaken by him with courageous tenacity and pursued with great perseverance by Belgium.
King Baudouin made a speech in which he exalted the role of Belgium, talking about everything Belgium had brought to the Congo. He said we had arrived at a moment when Belgium had decided to grant the Congo its independence, and that this was well and good. I would say it was a classic speech for such circumstances. Kasavubu made a speech thanking King Baudouin. He talked about the Congo and the future. It was a good speech, too. Lumumba hadn't been scheduled to speak. The whole international press was there. Suddenly he got up, walked to the tribune, and made a speech.
The MONDE speech came as a shock. Nobody was expecting it, and it shocked lots of Belgians. He systematically condemned Belgian colonization. He repeated all the harshest anti-colonial accusations. We'd cut off people's hands, we'd enslaved them, and all that sort of thing.
You who have fought for independence and are today victorious, I salute you in the name of the Congolese government. I salute all my friends who fought relentlessly at our sides. We have been subjected to insults and sarcasms, to the blows we had to endure from morning to night just because we were Africans. We learned that the law was never the same according to whether it was applied to whites or blacks. Who will ever forget the shootings or the barbarous jail cells awaiting those who refuse to submit to this regime of injustice, oppression, and exploitation?
That was really the decisive moment when he made that famous speech on the 30th of June 1960.
Voilà. Nous avons suivi Lumumba. La trahison. Les Occidentaux ont tout fait. Ont tout fait pour tuer Patrice Lumumba. Pour qu'ils aient la mainmise sur le Congo, la mainmise sur tous les minéraux. Mais est-ce que ça les a rendus plus importants dans le vol en RDC, cette communauté internationale? Que dalle! À quoi ça a servi de tuer Patrice Lumumba? Mais rien du tout. Ça vous a servi à rien. Un premier ministre tué à l'âge de 35 ans. Dans son pays. Non. Communauté internationale. Ce que vous n'aimez pas qu'on vous fasse, mais vous allez faire chez les autres. C'est pas normal. Ce grand homme, Laurent Désiré Kabila, qui est venu en RDC avec l'aide de la communauté internationale pour chasser Mobutu. Mais ce grand homme, il avait l'amour de son peuple. Ce grand homme, Laurent Désiré Kabila, assassiné toujours par la communauté internationale pour pouvoir avoir la mainmise sur le Congo RDC, pour les minéraux. Et aujourd'hui, quand nous voyons tous ces marionnettes qui viennent, ils se font passer pour des opposants. Mais vous n'êtes pas des opposants. Vous êtes des comiques en RDC. Les opposants que nous voyons là, en RDC, c'est des opposants du ventre. Est-ce qu'ils aiment vraiment le peuple congolais? Non. Est-ce qu'ils se soucient des massacres, des tueries au Congo RDC? Mais il faut que ça finisse. Ce qui se passe au Congo RDC, c'est l'histoire qui se répète. L'histoire fait que se répéter. L'époque de Maréchal Mobutu, l'époque de la tuerie de Patrice Lumumba, c'est ce que le peuple congolais sont en train de vivre aujourd'hui. L'histoire se répète. Et maintenant, pour sortir de l'histoire qui se répète, il n'y a que le soulèvement populaire. Seul que la révolution, seul que le soulèvement populaire pourra faire que le Congolais aura sa dignité et son respect. Mais tant que le Congolais ne va pas se lever pour le soulèvement populaire, alors le peuple congolais continuera à vivre et à rester dans le domaine de l'esclavagisme. Mais les Congolais doivent sortir de là, parce que ça fait quand même mal. Ça fait mal. éperdument mal. Parce que ce peuple ne méritait pas. Ce peuple ne méritait pas ce qu'ils sont en train de vivre. Le peuple congolais. Il ne méritait pas. Il ne méritait pas ce qu'ils sont en train de vivre aujourd'hui. Mais ce qu'ils sont en train de vivre aujourd'hui, c'est par rapport à la haine, par rapport à la jalousie. Je dirais au peuple congolais, je dirais au peuple africain, aimons-nous les uns et les autres. Aimons-nous dans l'harmonie, faisons des bonnes choses pour que notre Afrique avance. La haine, la jalousie, elle ne servira à rien. À rien. Nous avons besoin aujourd'hui que nous avançons dans une Afrique meilleure et non une Afrique qui va nous amener toujours en arrière et en arrière. Nous avons besoin d'avancer, mais d'avancer dans les bons domaines, pas dans le domaine de la jalousie. Car la jalousie ne sert à rien. La jalousie a participé immensément à la destruction de notre Afrique. Nous avons besoin d'avancer. Nous avons besoin d'être des gens meilleurs. Car quand nous serons meilleurs, nous allons sortir du gouffre. Nous sortirons du gouffre. Car ce que le peuple congolais vive actuellement, ne devront même pas le vivre. Ce que le peuple africain vive actuellement, ne devront même pas le vivre. Voir les Africains qui vont au Maroc, voir les Africains qui vont en Libye, dans des pays où ce qu'on les tue, ça fait immensément mal. Immensément mal. Voir tout ce qui se passe, ça fait immensément mal. L'Afrique va mal. Mais il faut savoir pourquoi notre Afrique va mal. Pourquoi? L'Afrique va mal parce que nous avons donné la possibilité à des dictateurs de jouer avec le peuple africain. Car ces dictateurs n'aiment pas le peuple africain. Nous devons nous lever. Nous devons nous lever. Quand nous nous lèverons, les choses vont changer. Nous devons nous lever. Et je demande à tous les Africains, lèvons-nous. Lèvons-nous pour toutes les générations. Lèvons-nous pour une Afrique meilleure. Nous avons le devoir de le faire pour que le peuple soit un peuple meilleur.